story, breaking news, the letter sent by the FBI Director James Comey saying, after a thorough review of the latest emails discovered on Anthony Weiner's computer, the FBI stands by its original decision back in July. No criminal charges recommended against Hillary Clinton. Joining us now from Salt Lake City, Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz. He's the chairman of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, one of the members who actually received this letter from Director Comey today. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Wolf.
The last time we spoke, you seemed pretty convinced that this new investigation would turn up new evidence of wrongdoing by Hillary Clinton. No such evidence, according to the FBI director, emerged. Do you trust Director Comey's conclusion in this new phase of the investigation?
Well, there may be new evidence, but the idea that he's not going to prosecute, I wholly understand, and I'm if that's his conclusion, I'm glad he communicated it. But obviously, 10 days ago or so, when they said, hey, we are looking at this information, they had reopened what they were looking at, then, we're all left with, wow, would you do that so close to an election unless you had something that was of real substance? And so, one of the most memorable elections we've ever had, it still begs a lot of questions that still need to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought that his FBI agents must have told him there was something startling to issue such a statement, a letter to you and other members of Congress with only 11 days or so remaining, and now to conclude they've reviewed all these hundreds of thousands of emails, and his original conclusion stands. Do you trust this investigation? Do you believe that the FBI director should be staying on the job, or do you think he's been compromised?
I've never suggested that he's been compromised. It begs a lot of questions that I think we need to answer long term, no matter who wins this election. Because we got to understand, there was reference in the FBI documents about a quid pro quo. We need to understand that. The FBI director back in July gave about 12 minutes of very stunning statements about how careless Hillary Clinton was with classified material. How is it that classified material migrated to an unclassified setting? And still to this day, we learn more and more about the idea that Hillary Clinton gave classified or access to classified information to people who had no security clearances. So there's a lot of things that we still need to figure out. And we also don't know what's going on with his probe or investigation of the Clinton Foundation. And Bob Goodlatte and I, Bob Goodlatte, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and I also sent a request to look at did Hillary Clinton lie under oath when she provided testimony to Congress? That they haven't answered as well. So I could go on and on for another half hour, Wolf. We got a lot of questions that need to be answered.
So basically, how do you think the Trump campaign should react, Congressman, to this latest development, which basically says, at least as far as the FBI is concerned, the case against Hillary Clinton and her email server is closed?
Look, I'm not going to give the Trump campaign any sort of advice. It's really up to the American people. I think there are still a lot of questions that America has to answer, and they get to make this decision in the next 48 hours or so. Because she did put classified information at risk. She did put people unnecessarily at risk. That is undisputable. Nobody's disputing that Hillary Clinton made a very conscious decision early in this process to do something that was convenient for her, but put our nation at risk. And that's part of her background. And people are going to have to process that and determine how important that is as they make a decision whether or not to vote for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, the FBI director said in his testimony to Congress she was extremely careless in the way she dealt with her email, that private server, but he also concluded that there was no intent to deal with classified information in an illegal way, if you will, and as a result, he said no reputable prosecutor would go forward and prosecute Hillary Clinton in this case.
But that's a question.
I understand. You don't accept that, right?
Well, I think it's a question. Where is intent? I read the conclusion of where you need to get to intent. I believe the statute says if you have the intention of storing classified information in a non-secure setting, that's enough to violate the statute. And certainly the Department of Justice has prosecuted other people for far less than what is talked about here. And while we're talking about just Hillary Clinton, let's remember you've got other people from Uba Abedin to Cheryl Mills to Heather Samuelson that had to have immunity agreements put in place. If this is truly closed, I think Hillary Clinton should look people in the eye and look into the camera and say, don't plead the fifth, no more immunity agreements, go to Congress in a bipartisan way and let us question them. Let's get to the answer to this, because it is one scary thing for people in our intelligence services, in our military, to suggest that, well, if you don't have the intention of giving this information to the Russians or the Chinese, go ahead and take home the classified information. Go ahead and put it on your home brew server. Are you kidding me? That puts people's lives in jeopardy. So where is the level of intent that you need to get to so that the FBI can prosecute it? They prosecuted for far less than Hillary Clinton did.
We'll continue this conversation down the road. Congressman Chaffetz, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Wolf.